All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, the party is on in Tampa Bay as the Buccaneers just claimed their second Super Bowl title in franchise history, and they did it in dominating fashion as they got the best of the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, by the score of 31-9. Now, the Bucs waited all season long to play their best game of the season, and I have been saying this, that, they were winning, they got to the playoffs, and they had not played their best game yet. They hadn't thrown their best fastball, and they waited to the biggest game to do it. You look at the meat and potatoes of this game, and it started with the Bucs pass rush, and we've seen this Bucs pass rush really take it to another level throughout this postseason. And, you look at the game last night, Tampa only sacked Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes 3 times. And I say only because they were relentless all night. If you look at Patrick Mahomes, he never had an opportunity to get his feet set. And I don't care who the quarterback is, no quarterback at any level loves it when he is getting pressure in his face consistently throughout a game. You look at this D-line, which is led by Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. They were relentless. They kept collapsing this Chiefs offensive line. I'll talk about that in a minute. And Mahomes never really got a chance to breathe. And overall, the Bucs dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. You look at the way that Tampa was able to establish their run game early. They got both Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette going, and it took a lot of stress off of veteran quarterback Tom Brady. It allowed the Bucs to really mix up things on offense, and it kept this Chiefs defense off balance all night long. And I talk about Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. They combined for 150 yards on the ground, but it wasn't just 150 yards. It was 150 physical yards. Leonard Fournette is a big bruising back. Ronald Jones is smaller than Fournette, and he's faster than Fournette, but he still has a lot of pop when he hits that hole. And you look at it, they put a lot of lean on this KC front, and the Chiefs were never able to adjust to it. You look at the old friends getting together in this contest, and I'm talking about Bucs quarterback Tom Brady and tight end Rob Gronkowski. They spent so many years together with the New England Patriots. Gronk had retired prior to the 2019 NFL season. And after Brady left New England at the conclusion of that season, he was able to talk his good old friend Gronk into coming down to Tampa Bay and joining him in this journey right here. And it showed last night. Not only did Brady find Gronkowski for a pair of touchdown passes, but also, Gronk showed flashes of the Gronk that we saw 5 years ago, and you could still see that he's lost a step. But, he was getting open down the field. He was running the seam. He's still the best blocking tight end of all time, but he got back to doing what people have known him for as being a receiver. And he was out there, and he was making some hay versus this Chiefs defense. You cannot understate what he did in this contest last night. You look overall, and the Bucs showed the NFL how to beat the Chiefs. And credit to Tampa Bay head coach Bruce Arians, because I guarantee you he watched the game film from last year's Super Bowl when the Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers. And for all intents and purposes, if you looked at that game, the Niners had the Chiefs on the ropes, but they could not deliver the knockout blow. Number one, they didn't have the offense to do it. Number two, I think one of the biggest mistakes that the 49ers made in that game with their defense going up against Kansas City. They dominated that game for the first 3 quarters, but heading into the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 54, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy made the necessary adjustments. They started to move the pocket, let Patrick Mahomes get outside, and the Niners never adjusted because they still relied on their front four to be good enough to create pressure. And you could see that their front four ran out of gas. And they never decided to bring a linebacker. They never decided to bring a safety to kind of mix things up. And Patrick Mahomes shredded them in that fourth quarter. Last night, this Bucs defense was relentless from the get. We saw this front four create pressure. They brought linebackers periodically. They brought DBs periodically. Patrick Mahomes never had an opportunity to set his feet. And if you look at what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do over the last few years, he's typically had a clean pocket to stand back there and do whatever he wants. He never had an opportunity last night to unload that deep ball to Tyreek Hill. And that right there is the Chiefs' bread and butter. Why? Because even if Kansas City is down by 20 points, you throw that home run ball to Tyreek Hill for a big 60 or 70-yard touchdown pass, you're right back in the contest. Your defense is inspired. They're ready to step it up and take their game to another level because they know they can get the football back to you. The Bucs never gave Kansas City that opportunity last night. They were able to keep their safeties back. They made Patrick Mahomes do everything underneath. You could see he was a frustrated quarterback first from the pass rush that the Bucs were delivering. Also, on top of that, due to the fact that he could not get the deep ball to the likes of Tyreek Hill, and that really changed things in this contest. You look at it, and the Bucs came playing to win. Playing to win. They didn't play scared, and that's the situation we've seen with opponents of the Kansas City Chiefs over the past couple of years. Sometimes they're in awe. Sometimes they're worried so much about what can go wrong, and they forget to go out there and take care of what they need to take care of. The Bucs came to play. They were aggressive on offense. I know that the Chiefs stopped them on their first drive of the game. After that, they really got it going. This could have been worse. Of course, the Bucs went for it on 4th and goal in the first half inside the 1-yard line, and they did get stymied by the Kansas City defense. I know that some people are going to question some of the penalties that the Chiefs had on defense. They were legit. You have an offsides on a field goal that leads to a first down, and it keeps the drive going, and it results in a touchdown. You have pass interference calls. I mean, people can say, oh, you got to let them play in the Super Bowl, but you know what? It is what it is. You have holding calls. Again, regardless of the game, it is what it is. So, Kansas City, did a lot to hinder themselves in this contest, but defensively, they were never able to get off of the field. And you could see the frustration setting in for the Chiefs defensively during this second quarter. And it was a crucial second quarter because instead of it being a potentially close game heading to the half, it was 21-6. And I think just like it was in the NFC Championship game, when the Bucs scored that touchdown just before the half to kind of break the back of Green Bay, they kind of did the same versus Kansas City. I know that Kansas City has been down. They have a better offense than Green Bay does, but it just smelled a lot different from what we've typically seen from the Kansas City Chiefs over the past few years. A ton of credit to Chiefs defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. He had an excellent game plan. This Bucs team made the necessary adjustments after they lost to Kansas City during the regular season. And remember, that was the Bucs' last loss of the season. They dropped to 7-5. They lost by 3 points at home to Tampa Bay. But it was a situation. They learned from that. They knew that they had to play better in all phases of the game, and that is exactly what they did last night. Byron Leftwich, the Bucs offensive coordinator, he called a solid game, and I think it was important for Arians, Leftwich, and Brady to be on the same page as the season progressed. It wasn't pretty at first because everybody had to get familiarized with each other. And I think Arians had his system, Brady had his way of doing things. And you know what? Everybody was able to put their egos aside for the greater good of the team. And I've been saying it all season long. Yes, Tampa Bay has plenty of talent at the wide receiver position. We talk about Mike Evans. We talk about Chris Godwin. We talk about Antonio Brown. But you know what? Their bread and butter is running the football. And if Tampa can establish that line of scrimmage and run the ball, it changes everything because it makes those passes so much easier. And if you look at this Chiefs defense last night, they were on skates. They did not know where it was coming from. Tampa stuck to the run game. They established the line of scrimmage. It helped their passing game so much. And if their DBs wanted to sit back and try to take away the deep ball, Brady was like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm just going to check it down right here to Ronald Jones coming out of the backfield. I'm just going to check it down to Leonard Fournette. I'm going to find Cameron Brate. I'm going to find Rob Gronkowski. Mike Evans only had one catch in this game. So that lets you know where the game plan was. It was a team effort, and that is the reason why we're talking about the Bucs right now as Super Bowl champions. I know that the Chiefs had a lot of distractions coming into this game. The team barber tested positive for COVID, and, that really changed things before they left Kansas City. Britt Reed, the outside linebackers coach, his son, of Andy Reid was involved in an accident that injured some children. And of course, that could have been a distraction for this club as well. But at the end of the day, when you step between those lines, you got to go out there and take care of your business. And Kansas City, unfortunately, was unable to do that. You look at this game, the Mahomes hype. I know that there were some people out there who were saying already, about Patrick Mahomes being able to catch Tom Brady. I think that discussion right there is a disservice to everyone involved in it, because first and foremost, when you look at Tom Brady, you need to sit back and appreciate and respect what you're seeing. It has not been done before, and I don't see it happening again anytime soon, at least. This man has now won 7 Super Bowl championships and 10 appearances. You're talking about a situation where Tom Brady alone has won more championships than Super Bowl championships, that is, than any other NFL franchise. It's a situation where, hey, you know what? People are going to sit back and say, well, Tom Brady, look at the team that he had around him. Look at the team that he had around him. Look at this, look at that. But you know what? One's an accident, two is a trend. When Tom Brady was with the New England Patriots for 2 decades, a lot of the people changed. But the two constants were Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And you look at it now, Tom Brady leaves New England. Bill Belichick's star is not shining as bright as it once was when TB12 was there to kind of mask a lot of the mistakes that he made in personnel decisions. And it really showed up this year as New England went 7-9 and they finished with their first losing season for the first time since 2000. That was Brady's rookie year when he was not even a starter. You look at it, great players like Tom Brady, and it doesn't matter what sport it is, regardless if it's the NBA with the likes of LeBron James and Michael Jordan over the years, Peyton Manning in the NFL, of course, for his time with the Colts and Broncos, just to name a few of some of the great players that we've seen in sports over the years. It's a situation where, you know what, great players make the people around them want to elevate their game. And I know that people are going to sit back and say, well, the Bucs, look, he handpicked this team to go to. They had talent, this, that, and the third. But let's not forget, with all of that talent, Tampa Bay still had not made the playoffs since 2007. That's a long stretch in the lexicon that is the National Football League. Tom walks into the room with basically the same roster. I know that there were a few adjustments here and there, but he basically walked into the room with the same roster, got this team to the playoffs. I know that some people scoffed at him. They lost their first game of the season to New Orleans Saints. They actually got swept this season by the New Orleans Saints. They got their revenge on the Saints in the postseason as they defeated them in the divisional round. And from that point on, they were rolling. But the bottom line is, guys like Tom Brady make the people around them elevate their game to the next level. We saw that defensively, the Bucs were good, but you know what? When you have a guy on the other side that you can get the ball to that's going to help you win, it makes you step up that much more. This defense was locked in. They were dialed in at each level. Devin White has really taken his game to the next level. He is showing you why he is one of the more outstanding young linebackers in the NFL. Shaq Barrett is an unrestricted free agent. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to re-sign with Tampa, but it's a situation where he definitely just made himself a lot of money for this postseason run that he's on. We saw the great play by the young safety for the Bucs and Antoine Winfield Jr. Of course, his father had a stellar career in the NFL, and he learned from him. The future is bright for him. This Bucs secondary with youngsters such as the likes of Carlton Davis, they stepped up as well throughout this whole thing. You look at it on the flip side for Patrick Mahomes. Still a very good talent in the National Football League, and I think that the future is definitely bright for him. But it just shows you how you can't take these opportunities for granted. And I'm not trying to say that Mahomes did, but people are automatically just putting multiple titles on a quarterback. It's a situation. You go back to Dan Marino. Dan Marino got to the Super Bowl in his second year. They got blown out by the 49ers, and everybody said, you know what? This is going to be a yearly occurrence. We're going to consistently see Dan Marino back in a big game. It has not happened. We saw Russell Wilson early in his career win a championship with the Seattle Seahawks. And granted, A lot of that was predicated on the running ability of Marshawn Lynch and that defense that the Seahawks had. And everybody was like, well, Russell Wilson, he has an opportunity to go back and win multiple titles. Went back the next year. The Seahawks got cute. Instead of giving the football to Marshawn Lynch, they decided to throw. Malcolm Butler intercepted it for the Patriots, and the rest is history. Russell Wilson has never gotten back to the Super Bowl again. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl championship in 2010. He's had multiple MVPs, but after that, he's never been able to get back to the big game. The same thing can be said about Drew Brees, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So for Mahomes, you can't take this for granted. It's, he still has an opportunity to get back there. But like I've been saying all year long, if you look at the contract that Patrick Mahomes signed and that big time extension, guess what? When you're a quarterback and you sign those type of extensions, you know what happens? The team around you changes, and it's up to your front office to be able to draft and replace those guys. And it's easier said than done. So you look at it and say, well, hey, why can't Patrick Mahomes get the football downfield? He doesn't have any wide receivers to throw the ball to. Why are the Chiefs so bad on defense? Because they don't have anybody to stop anybody. This is what happens when quarterbacks take big deals like that. The team around them changes. So you're going to see that in the coming years in Kansas City, especially if the salary cap goes down for the 2021 NFL season, as people are projecting it to be. But you look at this game, the Chiefs had injuries on their offensive line. You had two backup offensive tackles going out there against this pass rush. I knew it was going to be a problem. I didn't think it was going to be magnified to the level that it was last night. I looked thoroughly at these rosters heading into this game, which is why I picked the Bucs to win. I said it in my Super Bowl preview that the Bucs had more talent. I looked at this Chiefs defense. They weren't as strong as they were last year. They didn't have the talent that they had last year. And this offense really masked a lot of problems that this defense had. And it really got exposed last night. You saw it again. Mahomes had no time whatsoever, and it really took away from what the Chiefs were able to do. So, you look at it, the Bucs are the champs. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to keep this together. They're on cloud nine right now, as well as they should be. First team in NFL history to play in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. I know that people are going to feel like it was a big advantage, which it was, because they didn't have to get on a plane. But you know what? You go back and you look at college. How many times have we seen UCLA play in the Rose Bowl? How many times in the old days when the Orange Bowl was at the original Orange Bowl site where the Miami Hurricanes played, that they didn't have an advantage going into those contests? It is what it is. The Bucs, this was a situation that the game was going to be played at Raymond James Stadium. This was a decision that was made several years ago. The Bucs made history. They went out there, they took care of their business, and now the onus is on them to try to repeat as Super Bowl champions, just like it was on the Chiefs this year. Everybody's always going to remember you by the last thing that you're able to do. Unfortunately for the Kansas City Chiefs, they picked the biggest game of the year to have their worst game of the year, while on the flip side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they picked the best time to have their best game of the year. It's a reason why they're Super Bowl champions. A lot of bragging, a lot of trash talking was going on in this game. It played out throughout the contest, but the Bucs are the winners. They, get the, all of the spoils that comes with victory, while Kansas City is just thrown back into the pile with the other NFL teams for the 2021 season as they look back to get back to the point that they were a year ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work out for both of these clubs in the offseason. But right now, Tampa Bay is celebrating. They're on cloud nine, and it is definitely well deserved. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of the subscribers out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.